Okay. The audio should be okay. Um, Let me know, guys. If it isn't, actually, let me double check before I begin. Let me know, guys. If it isn't, actually, let me double check. Okay, it is. Okay. In the name of God, the most benevolent and the most merciful, in honor of the original unconditional moment that all conditional simulated moments have arisen from and will return to, in honor of the presence of the world host beyond the world room. Okay. So, welcome everyone. I'm actually invited somewhere. So, but I have time to do a proper lecture. What is it? It's 5:38. An hour lecture. Yeah. I wanted to begin not with just acknowledging what I consider to be the most advanced state of, I guess, conscious acknowledgement, which is the unconditional original cause of being. You're listening to someone who considers that human beings are a conditional effect, a known conditional effect to an unknown unconditional cause. That unknown unconditional cause I perceive to be as an original singularity beyond reality. So I will share my deeper ideas here, but today's lecture is focused on this very interesting view that traditionally there are seven wonders of the world, but for me, the fact that there is a world at all is fascinating, and I consider that to be the biggest wonder of the world itself. So first, for the research component, I'm going to share the seven wonders of the world and AI's view on this. So I'm going to be reading it first. So this is the research component. The designation Seven Wonders of the World originates in the Hellenistic period when Greek travelers and historians sought to catalog the most extraordinary human constructions known to their cultural horizon. The classical list comprises the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the statue. Sorry, guys, this is going to explain it. Hold on. Let me read this part. Listen to this. The original seven wonders of the ancient world were considered wonders because they pushed the limits of what human beings at the time believed was possible. The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt is a wonder because built around 2560 BCE, it required astonishing mathematical precision, logistical organization, and engineering skill. Millions of stone blocks aligned so accurately that modern builders still admire its geometric perfection. Then we have the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Second wonder. If they truly existed as described, were a wonder because they represented the artificial creation of a lush mountain garden in a desert empire, engineering irrigation systems powerful enough to lift water upward, defying nature in an age without modern pumps. The statue, we go to the third wonder, the statue of Zeus at Olympia. This one's pretty cool. I've seen pictures. The statue of Zeus at Olympia. I've seen pictures of also. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was a wonder not merely for its size, but because it captured divine majesty in sculptural form, blending religion, art, and technical mastery into a 12-meter tall seated uh, god statue made of ivory and gold. The temple of Artemis at Ephesus was a wonder because it was one of the largest temples ever built in the ancient world, symbolizing wealth, devotion, and architectural advancement far beyond its time. I haven't seen a picture of this. Let me check it out. Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. And guys, there's this thing that people were shorter than too. So, anyways, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus was a wonder because it was one. I read this one of the largest temples ever built in ancient world, symbolizing wealth, devotion, and architectural advancement far beyond its time. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was a wonder because it elevated a tomb into a monumental fusion of Greek, Egyptian, and Lycian styles, so iconic that the word mausoleum comes from it. The word mausoleum, a building specially large and stately one housing a tomb or tombs. So iconic that the word mausoleum comes from it. The Colossus of Rhodes was a wonder because it was among the tallest statues of the ancient world, symbolizing resilience and victory. A massive bronze figure standing at a harbor as a political and artistic statement. The lighthouse of Alexandria was a wonder because it solved a life and death problem for sailors. It was one of the tallest man made structures of its era and used advanced mirror and fire systems to guide ships safely, engineering in service of civilization. Then it says the new seven wonders. The Great Wall of, so those were considered from the Hellenistic period. Now it says the new seven wonders. The Great Wall of China, Petra, Christ the Redeemer, Machu Picchu, Chichen Itza, the Colosseum, and the Taj Mahal are wonders because they represent extremes: scale, beauty, ingenuity, symbolic power, and survival across centuries. The Great Wall stretches thousands of kilometers, a physical expression of state power. Petra is a city carved directly into rose red stone cliffs. Machu Picchu sits in impossible Andean heights, engineered with seismic precision. The Colosseum represents complex urban architecture and mass public culture. The Taj Mahal transforms grief into symmetrical marble perfection. Each one is a triumph over environment, limitation, or mortality. Now, here's the deeper shift. They are called wonders because they make us feel small in the presence of human capability, but Earth itself is the greater wonder because it makes all capability possible. It is the only known planet where liquid water remains stable at the surface. Its magnetic field shields life from solar radiation. Plate tectonics recycle nutrients and regulate atmospheric carbon. Its atmosphere maintains a temperature range narrow enough for biology. Over billions of years, it generated self replicating molecules, then cells, then molecular life, then nervous systems, then self aware beings capable of mathematics, architecture, and longing for eternity. The pyramids are limestone rearranged. The Taj Mahal is marble reshaped. The Great Wall is mountains extended by human hands. Every monument is earth reconfigured by a species earth produced. In quotations, wonder is something that evokes awe because it exceeds expectation. Earth exceeds expectation at every level. It assembled oceans from hydrogen and oxygen, forests from sunlight, mines from carbon, and civilizations from curiosity. The monuments are extraordinary because humans are extraordinary. Humans are extraordinary because Earth is a cosmic improbability where chemistry became consciousness. So the wonders of the world are not separate from the Earth, they are Earth becoming aware of itself and building in stone to prove it. That was a very interesting, you know, view. So that's the end of the research component, guys. But now I can share my deeper views on this. So I shared with you the wonders. So, guys, the seven wonders traditionally. So, to go over them, the seven wonders were Great Pyramid of Giza, traditional were Great Pyramid of Giza, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, um, Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, Colossus of Rhodes, and Lighthouse of Alexandria. And the new seven wonders from 2007 as a global vote, rather the traditional wonders being a sort of Hellenistic consideration. We have the Great Wall of China, we have Petra in Jordan, we have Christ the Redeemer, we have Machu Picchu, we have Chichen Itza, we have the Colosseum, we have Taj Mahal. There should be one more, guys. There is, I think it's Kailash Temple. It should be that should be in here. Okay, it's a temple in India that it was sculpted out of the stone. It is one of the biggest mysteries how they had that sort of carving power. You know, similar to, for example, I guess Petra. You know, so to end with the research component. All right. So, guys, my approach to giving these lectures is due to my position and I guess human identified position. I consider the past, present, future. In the past, I consider the lists of the wonders of the world I read for you. In the present, as I'm giving this lecture, the whole world is a wonder itself. And if I was to consider what is the wonder of the world in the future, it is the wonder of where everything is going and what will become of the position of our consciousness. That was the Elon Musk short that just randomly appeared with it. So, folks, in this time, you have the opportunity to listen to one member of the human species from, in some sense, share how reality is being perceived from his inner lens. In previous lectures, as I have said many times, numerous times, for me, countless at this point, in front of your eyes, you find the way. Okay, let me start from here. The way we have been conditioned to acknowledge the human experience, I found it to be an error. Okay, and I began to look at life not just from my own conceptual position inside a fixed context, but I began to look at life in regards to what other context can, in some sense, give meaning to the concept I am now. As I began wondering about the context, I began, in some sense, wondering not about just myself in the world. I began wondering about what the world really is and how many different ways there are to look at it. From the self perspective, from our human position, okay, the way we're conditioned is that they tell us we are treated as nouns and we live our whole lives thinking we are a known noun, and it is a matter of concept hopping where where the world is one fixed context, and every day we wake up we log back into this you know three-dimensional MMO. As we log into this reality, we in some sense simulate new conceptual positions and identify with that. As life, I have lived 12,500 days on this planet. I have 12,500 days. That means 12,500 times I have logged in and logged out of the conscious waking state where we human beings find our engagement with what we call reality, a shareable reality. Over time, throughout all these days, certain realizations have found me. I have began noticing things that, in some sense, have broken past overlays of subjectivity on what this play, what this moment actually is. To take your attention, think of it that the self is the concept, the world is the context. Now, if we are wondering about what self means, okay, the world is the contextual position. But if we wonder about what the world means, the world comes into the conceptual position, and the context becomes where the world actually is. Now, what is fascinating is that, contrary to how everybody has been raised as a known noun, I am making the claim that we are actually unknown verbs. That life is double edged, double sided, and we human beings are just living one side. And the way we experience life, we suffer because we have not become responsible for the dualities of our experience. We have not acknowledged that reality is spiraling, meaning every moment has a 360 and beyond. So, in the analysis of the world. And when somebody comes and says that the world itself is the wonder of the world, it is starting from this position that human beings in front of their eyes access a public, objective, conditional outer realm. But behind their eyes, they find it not completely unconditional, but more unconditional, a private, subjective inner realms. Okay, so in front of your eyes, you're an intelligence of a moment that has access to the externality, to an external server, behind your up to a public external server where we all are in. And it's physical and it's tangible, but behind our eyes is non-physical, non-tangible, which is not tangible. But we live in a private server. If you were to start thinking about not looking at life from your eyes to the world, but this is a bit harder to do, but imagining if you were the world watching yourself, you would be fascinated. You would be fascinated to immediately realize that the way the individual conscious experience, subjective experience, which is very real to us, you is positioned. excuse me, to discriminate between the inner realms and the outer realms in considering the human position. The outer realms is very interesting in the sense that we require to adapt to its conditions. What is interesting for the inner realms, in order for something to mean something to you, it has to adapt to the condition behind your eyes. So mankind is positioned in a realm not just dualistic in the sense of night and day, not just dualistic in the sense of visible, invisible, good, bad, right, wrong, all of this. There's an internality and there's an externality. We are all living inner lives, an inner life, and we're also living an outer life. Our inner life is not explainable. This is why consciousness is a mystery, you know? And in some traditions where in ancient times, people don't know this, right? People don't know this, that the world has been reduced in depth to become manageable to the modern human being. But the modern human being, because it is a deeper being than how much it has reduced, the world suffers the incompleteness. From one side of the coin, you animate as an individual self. They say, what is the strategy of the psyche of the human being? The strategy of the psyche of the human being is to maintain a coherent self across all conditions of reality, from the beginning to the end. But this maintenance of a coherent self is actually a strategy that an unknown moment of intelligence uses to, in some sense, retaliate against the uncertainty and instability it finds in its life. So, in a simple way of saying this, that the game that human beings are playing is a very complex game, and based on, just like how in a video game, if you were to play an MMO, as you go discover a map and expand the horizons of your map, right? As you go explore the world, you begin to, in some sense, discover new phenomena. That new phenomena recalibrates your identity. But because you're trying to be one stable identity all the time, you suffer because the nature of reality is more like an unknown verb rather than a known noun. If you look at the human position, a very important point is, even not pointing it down to the inner realm, outer realm, just to explain in regards to the outer realm, what you notice, what you notice is that our biology is an ancient, outdated, okay, technology designed to be engaged with the natural world. But as time has gone forth through the emergence of subjective identity in human beings, when people named themselves, they started pulling themselves towards a different realm. Language started off as a tool, but in modern times, you think you are the language, you think you are the idea. If someone comes and tells you something about the idea of you, you get offended, meaning that the intelligence that you actually are beyond language is so infused with the linguistic identity that if the linguistic identity shifts, you suffer. Sorry, guys. I think there was an issue with the microphone. Let me know if this is better. If it isn't better, I really don't know what to do here. Anyways, Okay, to continue, what I was saying was simply this, that we are living in modernity. When human beings identified with the subjectivity, it was like they were using a tool and now they think they are that tool. Okay, and now their experience of reality is being filterized in a way that a singular an idea, which is a part of their moment, is being the owner of their home. Okay, human beings are inhabiting ideas as if not knowing where else consciousness can live. Now, if we pay attention to civilization currently, we realize that the world human beings have been made for themselves is unnatural. In this modern world, is not the natural environment we were created to engage in. So human beings have moved themselves from a sort of silent, natural existence in nature to a very highly information processing civilization that is in some sense human beings. So to me, like imagine there's somebody like Tarzan living in nature, okay, and then there's human beings. Human beings are living in man-made creations and they wonder in some sense why they suffer because we are designed for the natural world. But the mysteries of the natural world also call forth, they call us forth. All right, guys, I'm getting a phone call, but I think I fixed the mic. Okay, so in regards to the audio, it should be okay now. Sorry if it isn't, guys. I don't know. Like, I think I shouldn't record lectures with a MacBook. Um, I should figure this out. But until I do, I appreciate, I apologize for the technical difficulties, and please know that my intention of giving these talks is very sincere. It's just technical difficulties. So just to double check how the audio is. Okay, guys, this is not audible. This is not audible. Let me at least try to record this on my phone. So I'll make this part one, and hopefully in the future AI can figure out what I said, and I'm gonna turn this stuff into books. Okay. So this is part one. I'm gonna turn it off and bring my phone. Try to get this on my phone, and so until I figure out this microphone situation. So with that, this is the end of part one. Part two coming up right now.